I want to introduce you to our new favorite liberal, our favorite liberal of the day, probably leftist of the day, Representative Chris Rabb. Chris Rabb on Twitter says he is a proud dad, a rabble rouser. Oh, we get what you did there.
You know what? I got
You're clever. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't give him that. Public servant representing the people of Northwest Philly and PA's 200th legislative district and all Pennsylvanians! Exclamation point, parentheses, he, him. So he, him,
I
Chris
was
Rabb. Yes, over the
name
weekend.
Chris, you never know. It could be.
Over the weekend, tweeted, yes, he is either a chest feeder or an inseminator. We're not, pardon me, a birthing person, because you can have a non-birthing chest feeder. I think
he can still be a birthing person.
But you can't be a birthing person and an inseminator. I
Not
don't
at the
think.
same time.
Can you not?
Switch
I don't
between
think.
them. Maybe
Are we
you
now?
just decide.
Yeah, are we to the point that we're what's the term for that? Earthworms can do this.
Nothing
That we can,
is real.
Yeah, that we are. It's not asexual. I can't remember the term for it, but anyway,
Yes,
Chris
sorry.
Rabb. All right, we're Chris Rabb. He appears to be an inseminator, Chris Rabb. And so he tweeted out over the weekend, I'll be introducing a bill, and we can put this up on the screen. I'll be introducing a bill inspired by Representative Kelly Cassidy that requires all inseminators to undergo hashtag vasectomies within 6 weeks of having their third child or 40th birthday, whichever comes first. Additionally, ... He goes on, we'll talk about that in just a second. If you can't tell, he's not serious about this. He's trying to make a point, trying poorly, to make a point about legislating health care. Rabb goes on to say, my forthcoming bill will codify the definition of wrongful conception to include when a person has demonstrated negligence toward preventing conception during intercourse. This legislation will allow Pennsylvanians to take civil action, hashtag civil action, against inseminators for unwanted pregnancies who wrongfully conceive a child with them. Last, this bill will empower Pennsylvanians to enforce this prospective law by offering a $10,000 reward for reporting to the proper authorities those scofflaws who have not complied with this statute within the allotted time frame. As long as legislators continue to restrict the reproductive rights of cis women and trans men and non-binary folks with an S. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Folx. Folks. There should be.
Is that male and women and birthing people? Folks?
I have no idea. There should be laws to address the responsibility of men who impregnate. He did use men. He slipped up. He used men.
Oh no!
He tried so hard in that entire thread.
Throw out the bill.
Okay, so we'll ask you guys a couple quick questions, then I got a couple of observations. Joey, I mean, what do you think of a stunt like this?
It is clearly a direct jab at the Texas
law,
abortion law. But I think it makes him, and as a member of the Democratic Party, I think it makes them look so stupid. How can you compare this idiocy with the Texas abortion bill? I mean, the Texas abortion bill, one, it's like not even your body that you're dealing with. You're saving the life of a child. Yep. This is just insanity. He's clearly trying to appeal to the supposed bounty in Texas with the $10,000 thing. I think it's stupid, and I think from the ratio of his tweet, people also recognize just how stupid it is. But this is the state that the left is in, where they just are playing political games and political theater to try to advance their cause. I don't think this does anything to help him. He's trying to make a point, but I don't think it's made.
Yeah. So Grant, we get what he's trying to do here. Is it effective?
No, it reminds me of when I was in college. I was a very outspoken conservative.
When you tried to force vasectomies on people?
Yes. Yes, but no.
We all had that 2 months.
I was an outspoken conservative, and on Twitter, there were people who would, respond to things that I would say, and they would say something really stupid, and then like all of their little cronies would come and like their tweet and retweet it. It seems like that's what he's going for. It's like he wants like all of the little leftists to be like, oh, that's so funny, like great one, like great point.
Yeah.
But it's so like it's so bad and embarrassing.
Yes.
And like
It is embarrassing.
the parts that he's trying to be serious about that he's actually not trying to be funny about are the funniest parts. Like the fact that he says folks with an X. or that he-
Inseminators.
That's not even the
Inseminators.
joke part. The joke part
No.
is supposed to be the vasectomy part, but the funniest part is like his language that he uses. He doesn't even recognize how dumb he sounds.
The left is gone so woke that it's like it's funny.
It's a parody of itself
You
now.
think that they're joking.
It is a parody of
They have
itself.
lost it so much. It feels like this feels like an SNL skit.
Yes, yes.
It feels like
calling
he's-
men
yes.
inseminators.
Yes. And saying folks. That sounds like something. It sounds like he
even
has
catch
written
that at
an
first.
SNL skit that it would be a parody of the Texas abortion law.
It would be a good
So-
skit too. It'd be
It
very
would
funny.
be funny. Yes.
a couple of observations here before we wrap this up. First off, he's accidentally making the exact opposite of the point he's trying to make. The entire point of the pro-life movement is that babies are their own beings even before they're born. So the point is not the conservatives are not out there trying to sterilize women. No. And by the way, historically, the only as far as I'm aware, the only sterilization movements out there, the only eugenics movements out there, were from the left. Back in the early 20th century.
Doesn't abortion increase your chances of not being able to have a child in the future? I think
that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's the
I don't
case.
know that.
So that's
that's an interesting point
Yeah.
then. So maybe there is some unified messaging there, but yeah, the nobody on the conservative side of the spectrum is trying to restrict reproduction. We're trying to make sure that reproduction actually happens, which seems to be a good idea. It seems to me that the threat of running out of people is a lot more dire and worrisome than the threat of the temperature rising a degree globally. Call me crazy.